During a preseason game that wasn't meant to draw much attention, a moment unfolded that would be remembered by everyone in attendance. A moment that showed why sports are not just about points, plays, and statistics, but about real emotions, humanity, and hope. That evening, the Indiana Fever were facing one of the toughest rivals in the WNBA. The arena was packed, every seat filled. The fans were loud, passionate, full of energy. But sitting quietly in the front row, right at courtside, was a very special girl, Sophie. She was 14 years old, confined to a wheelchair, but her smile shone brighter than the floodlights above the court. Sophie loved basketball. But more than that, she adored Caitlin Clark. For her, Caitlin wasn't just an athlete. She was a symbol of strength, determination, and courage. Sophie's room was plastered with posters of Caitlin, and she never missed a single game, whether on TV or live stream. But this night was different. Tonight, she wasn't just a fan watching from afar. She was right there. Her family had saved for years to give her this once-in-a-lifetime gift. Courtside seats, where every move, every look, and every dribble felt close enough to touch. From the very first minute, Sophie's eyes were locked on Caitlin. Every three-pointer, every assist, every sprint made her heart race. Her hands trembled with excitement, but she bravely held up the small sign she had made. It read, "Caitlin, you inspire me to never give up." At halftime, while the players disappeared into the locker room, Sophie's mother leaned down to her. "Now's your chance, sweetheart. Be ready. She's coming back out soon." Her father rolled the wheelchair closer to the tunnel where the players would return to the court. Other fans had also gathered, shouting Caitlin's name, but Sophie's voice was soft, gentle, almost lost in the noise. And then something unexpected happened. As Caitlin Clark emerged from the tunnel, focused and ready, Sophie called out with all her strength, "Caitlin!" Her voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. And somehow, it cut through the chaos like a quiet whisper to the heart. Caitlin suddenly stopped. She turned, scanning the crowd, and then she saw Sophie. A smile spread across her face. She walked over slowly, knelt down so she could be face to face with the young girl, and said, "Hey, what's your name?" "Sophie," the girl stammered, her eyes wide with disbelief. "I just wanted to say, you inspire me. You're my hero." Caitlin's eyes grew misty. She gently took Sophie's hand and said, "That means more to me than you'll ever know. You know what? Girls like you are the real heroes. You inspire me." The crowd around them fell silent. Just moments ago, it had been full of cheers. Now, everyone watched with quiet awe.
I think it's really cool, and I wish I could make time for every single kid that's standing there screaming my name. I really do, and I just don't have the time, obviously, and we have meetings afterwards, so it's really cool. I mean, if I can make somebody's year or month or, second, I really want to be able to try to do that, even if it's a couple autographs, so hopefully she cherishes those shoes.
We're keeping them up in my parents' closet until we get a case for them, and then we're going to put them up in my room.
Caitlin placed a hand on Sophie's shoulder. "After the game, let's take a photo together, okay?" Sophie nodded, a silent moment of pure happiness.
She's just really cool, and I think that it's really cool how people appreciate her so much because she's a woman, because normally people appreciate boys more than girls, and I think it's really cool how she's really famous and stuff, and she's a girl and super inspiring.
After an intense game, the Indiana Fever won in a close battle. Fans roared with joy. But for Sophie, only one thing mattered, that Caitlin would keep her promise, and she did. She invited Sophie and her family onto the court. They laughed, posed for pictures, and talked, but Caitlin felt like she still wanted to do more. Turning to Sophie again, she said, "I want to tell you one more time how much it means to me that you came here tonight. It's not something I take for granted, but you came, and you shine with so much strength." Sophie smiled. "I wouldn't miss this for the world. You give me so much strength. When I watch you play, I forget about everything else." Caitlin paused. Then she quietly asked, "What keeps you so strong, Sophie? What gives you that kind of power?" Sophie glanced at her parents, then looked back, believing that anything is possible, just like you show us. "That's my strength. Caitlin nodded, visibly moved. Then she hesitated a little before asking, "Can I ask, why are you in a wheelchair?" There was a moment of silence. Sophie lowered her eyes and didn't answer right away. Caitlin quickly said, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say anything to make you sad." At that point, Sophie's father stepped in. "I can explain," he said calmly. And then he told the story.
We're keeping them up in my parents' closet until we get a case for them, and then we're going to put them up in my room.
This face says it all. It was a moment.
Sophie had once been a lively, joyful child, always outside, always laughing. But 3 years ago, everything changed. On the way home from a family trip, they were involved in a terrible car accident. A truck lost control and hit several cars. 3 children in another car didn't survive. Sophie was one of the most severely injured. She spent nearly a year in the hospital, multiple surgeries, endless pain, difficult therapy sessions. And in the end, doctors told them the heartbreaking truth: she would never walk again. Caitlin's eyes welled up with tears. Then she turned to Sophie, "And yet here you are, smiling, glowing, fighting. You are stronger than I could ever be." Sophie looked up, her eyes shining. Then Caitlin said, "You know what? Make a wish. Any wish. I want to try to make it come true." Sophie looked surprised. "A wish?" "Yes," Caitlin said. "Any wish. You don't have to tell me now. Just think about it." Sophie slowly nodded. Then Caitlin waved over one of her team assistants. The man returned a few moments later with a gift box. Caitlin handed it to Sophie with a smile. "Just a little thank you for being here and for being amazing." Sophie opened the box gently. Inside was a signed Indiana Fever jersey from Caitlin and a custom water bottle with Sophie's name on it. Sophie swallowed hard. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Her mother wiped away a quiet tear. "You don't know what this means to her." Caitlin placed a hand on Sophie's shoulder again. "Every time you look at that jersey, I hope you remember you are strong and you are not alone." Caitlin had to return to her team then. She said goodbye, waved one last time, and disappeared down the tunnel as the people around Sophie clapped and wiped tears from their eyes. Sophie sat still for a moment, holding the jersey tightly to her chest. Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. "That kind of person? That was something special. I haven't seen you smile like that in a long time." Even before they left the arena, the story had already spread among the fans. Videos, photos, and word of mouth passed it along. They didn't talk about points or assists. They talked about a connection between a superstar and a young girl who had never given up hope, even in the darkest times. And somewhere back in the locker room, while her teammates celebrated the win, Caitlin Clark sat quietly for a moment. Her eyes wandered to the courtside seat where Sophie had been. And in her heart she knew, tonight she hadn't just won a game. She had touched a soul. That was the video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Until next time.